today I'm talking to the amazing Jessica Starling. Today we did a long form video on OnlyFans, everything from starting out to tips to really get your feed going, how to bring in additional income through OnlyFans way beyond just the subscription part. Like, we really took a deep dive, so make sure you check that video out. And now we're going to talk about something really exciting, and that's probably on everybody's mind, because you might be going, okay, I know how to build this, or I have a feeling I could start on that, but girl, I have 20 Twitter followers and I don't got an Instagram. How do I get people to actually find me online? And how do I build a fan base when it feels like I'm maybe just screaming into the void and just getting started? So Jessica's going to give us lots of information about this. I think I always like to start at the starting place, right? Which was, do you remember being online and having no following? And what was the process of going from like 0 to like 1,000? Because I think that's probably the hardest, right? Once you get that traction going, okay, but that first process, you remember what it was like?
Yeah. So when I first started, I think I just had a Twitter and an Instagram, which later got deleted. But yeah, and then it's really hard to reach people on social media because as like sex workers, a lot of the things that like the hashtags that would be relevant to us are like banned. So promoting yourself through hashtags sometimes isn't really feasible, especially on Twitter. If you're any sort of adult, Twitter marks you in like some like code that you can't see, basically, that marks you as like adult, and you cannot show up in any hashtags ever forever. So don't bother with hashtags on Twitter. But yeah, I got most of my followers when I first started out from just going on Cam and having a link to my Twitter, or just having my Twitter handle where someone could see. So that just, you want those people who are interacting with you on your paid platforms to follow you to social media and interact with you more, and sort of build a relationship with you there. So it kind of encourages them to spend more money because then they have more of a relationship with you, right? And having, yeah, sorry, I'm getting off topic. Yeah, no, so that's kind of what I did.
That's really interesting, because usually I think everyone thinks about it the opposite way, where they're going, I need 2,000 or 20,000 Instagram followers to start a page. And you're saying that a lot of the times it's kind of the opposite. Like, you're taking your more explicit accounts like Twitter or maybe Tumblr before it started to get sort of like scrubbed of accounts, and then you're bringing those people into your social media instead of the other way around.
Yeah, and definitely people can discover you through social media, but when you're first starting out, it's a lot about like, so someone doesn't know you, they discover you on Twitter, you have like 3 followers, they, even if they really like you and they think you're hot, they might be like, you have 3 followers, and then go somewhere else.
Yeah, like, oh, that's probably not a real account. Like, she probably has another account where, you know, they rip these pictures because 3 followers and you're just getting started. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really important to sort of have your social medias linked to all your like paid accounts, and so some people who really like you can be like, oh, I'll follow her on Twitter, or I mean, like, whatever, Instagram, whatever. And so that's kind of where you first want to start out. So you have sort of like a good enough follower number where people will then feel good about following you. Because I do the same thing. Like, if I'm like, oh, who is this? And they have like 3 followers, I'm like, are you real? Like,
yeah, it's like a natural thing. And so it's like, you can't put that on customers or be upset if people aren't listening quite yet. And especially I think for people starting out, like, this is a long game. Like, I don't have experience doing it through, like, I'm just starting out in the digital space. And so like, I have like 50 Twitter followers, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's okay, because I just started. And when, you know, all our social media and stuff started for RAXX Searches, it was the same, where like, no one cared. It was just, you're just talking to the void, and that has to feel okay, because you've got to realize that to build a business is longer than like a week on social media. Like, you're not going to have 2,000 followers in a week, but that's okay. Like, you can still be bringing in income, especially if you're leading people through all of these. You can have 100 followers. If 20 of them sign up for your OnlyFans, like, you are doing a lot better.
No, absolutely. I wanted to stress that followers do not necessarily translate into money. If you see this girl and she has like 1 million followers, that doesn't mean she's making bank necessarily. Like, she could be, but also all those followers are following her for free on Twitter. That doesn't mean that they want to spend money on her, right? And so while followers, yes, like try to like gain them. It's not like the end all be all thing. If you don't have a whole lot of followers, don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to be successful, whatever. It's something that takes a while to build up, and takes a while to be able to utilize properly and stuff like that. So don't worry too much about it, basically.
Yeah, and also make sure you check out like the other video and look at the technical side of building up a business, because even if those people follow you into your business, and if you don't have the right setup and you're not monetizing it, you're not maximizing what they can do for you, it's sort of, you're spending all this time to get very little results. So make sure that you have the foundation and then worry about like, how am I bringing all of these people in? So now I want to talk a little bit about bringing people in, right? So we've already established if you can have 100 followers or 100,000, you're going to be okay, girl. But of course, people want to grow their following and grow their accounts.
Yeah, of course.
And this is like the opposite of a strip club, where at the strip club, if someone walks up to your customer and you're in the middle of an interaction, it's like the most inappropriate thing you can
Oh
do.
yeah, no, it's like, excuse you.
Like, how dare you? But digitally, it seems to be like there's a lot of retweeting, reposting, commenting happening by sex workers for each other.
Yes.
Right? And could you tell me a little about how that works and like why people are willing to do that and to sort of help each other out in that way when they're going digital?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a really strong believer in that. Like, if we all help each other out, we all make more money. I don't think if someone is doing well in this industry, that means someone else has to be doing poorly. I think there is enough horny dudes who are willing to pay to go around, basically. What things that work really well, I think, is just shouting out other performers. So like making a post specifically like, hey, go follow my friend, blah, blah, blah. She's really hot. Because I want to, some people join like retweet groups and stuff like that, and I want to stress that like that doesn't really work, because if you're just retweeting a whole bunch of stuff, sure it might get more visibility, but it kind of just looked like spam, right? And so what you want to do is sort of have like meaningful posts of just like, hey, this is my friend, go follow her. And then have like your friend maybe like do the same. So that's kind of called like a shout for shout. So where you both post like something like, hey, go follow my friend on whatever social media you're on, like Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And I also want to point out that when you are trying to, you know, get people to interact with your posts and stuff like that, social media algorithms really favor comments more than anything else. So if your post has a bunch of comments, it is going to show up more on people's feeds. So instead of asking people to like your post, it's more effective to put like a question. So people are then compelled to comment on it.
Yeah, and engage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, so one of the biggest things I think that can stop people on that is the mindset of feeling a little bit like, oh, I only have this many followers. Like, she's not going to care if I comment, or she's not going to care if I retweet. And I was wondering, you know, and this is a little bit abstract, so maybe it's not the most useful.
That's okay.
But I do think it matters, right? Because a lot of people get in their own way. So can you help me think through like what someone might say to themselves in that situation, or how they might approach it so it's maybe more strategic or smart, or they can feel a little bit better about going online and like starting all these interactions, right?
Absolutely. So like I still have these thoughts where like this person is like has their career like is like amazing, and they have like a billion cajillion followers. They don't want to interact with little me. And I definitely have had that more even at the beginning of my career, right? Because I'm like, I'm just starting out, I'm nobody, this person established, like but as long as you're coming off like you're kind of respectful of like their time, and they don't feel like you're just sort of like trying to like leech off of them, I guess, because you're not trying to do that, but if you're reaching out to someone for like a shout for shout, worst that can happen is that they say no or that they don't respond, right? So you might as well ask and be like, hey, can we do like a shout for shout? And then even if you don't have like that many followers, just trying to be reciprocative and saying shout for shout rather than just promo me on your fucking feed
Right.
shows them that you are trying to be like respectful and have like a mutually beneficial thing rather than just like, hey, can I use your following?
Right. And I think a lot of people forget there's a person behind that computer screen, right? So just like at the club, you hear reduction, you're going to hear it online. And just like at the club, you want to bring value to someone, even if they're your coworker. Like one of my favorite things in the world is to be like, hey, come to this VIP room with me. Like if I'm making a friend or I want to have an interaction with someone where I learn from them, I'm like, hey, like, let me make you some money, girl. And so especially if you're getting started, it's like great to think of ways to be a little outside the box. Like, yes, maybe it's like, a shout for shout or a follow for follow or whatever, but you could also be like, be creative. If you have like another skill or something you bring to the table, like, okay, you're a great illustrator. Hey, can I like make a beautiful design of you and trade it for like a couple of shout outs on your page for my like digital like sexy account? Maybe they're like, no, but like you can be, it doesn't just have to be like, oh, I have 24 followers and that's the only value I bring to the table. They're a person. There's other things they care about.
It's you can find a whole lot of ways to make it sort of mutually beneficial, or at least make it clear that you're trying to not take advantage of them, sort of thing. And I mean, if you DM me on like Twitter, Instagram, I do like shout outs sometimes. We don't need to do like a shout for shout. You can just DM me and then I can schedule you for just like a shout out. That's fine. I don't mind doing that.
There you go. You got one. If you're watching this, you have a wonderful person who's already willing to do that. And I will challenge you, if you're watching, to think of a way you can add value to Jessica's business when you hit her up. So she's like, not only like, I'll shout you out, but hey, I'm going to remember this person because they're trying to be helpful to me as well. I love that. I love the reciprocity. And I know Twitter's like the biggest one, right? As far, because it won't delete you. But what other platforms do you think are useful for creating accounts on and maybe engaging with people
on? I think it doesn't hurt to have an account anywhere. So I focus a lot on my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Reddit. Reddit is not very user-friendly, but Reddit is the most visited website in the world right now. So it's beneficial to post there. And Reddit has its own etiquette of posting, but definitely try to have like Instagram. I know Instagram is really finicky with deleting us, but try to like don't post any like censored nudity. Everything you post is you're wearing something, right? Sometimes things will get deleted and you're like, why did that get deleted? But as long as you're having everything contained and you're not posting things like, would you want to fuck me? Like, don't say anything like that. Don't use like explicit sexual words. When I write OnlyFans on Twitter, I use it with a 0 and a $sign at the end so they don't, get me for saying OnlyFans. And if you're going to use hashtags on Instagram, you have to search for them beforehand and make sure that they're not banned. Because if you keep using banned hashtags, your post or your account might get taken down.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge, especially if you're getting started, because you might have the hashtag will use and be like everything like 10 hashtags, but like that looks like spam, and also this, right? If you're using ones.
So you can't use like hashtag big tits. Hashtag big tits has been banned for forever on Instagram. You cannot use that. But you might can use like maybe hashtag hot girls with a Z, because hashtag hot girls with an S is banned, but you can use the other hashtag. So it's kind of like you need to like do some like research beforehand. Also in the DMs, do not talk about anything adult related, because that can also get your account taken down. Don't be like, hey, I sell this, and this on my OnlyFans. You can't do that. You can, what I suggest you do for your OnlyFans in general, and also for Instagram specifically, buy a domain name that is like yourstagename.com, and have it redirect to your OnlyFans. And later, if you have a website, you can use that for your website. But for now, just redirect it to your OnlyFans. So you can post it in your Instagram bio, and you can post it in messages or your stories or whatever, and you can sort of bypass the thing where Instagram is like, no porn.
Exactly. So you just got to be smart and stay ahead, because like you said, and for anyone doing this, make sure you're not putting your OnlyFans in your bio. That's like one of the easiest ways for them to shut down your account. They're really, really finicky with that.
Yeah, no. So Instagram is really finicky, but of course it is a visual platform. You're going to get a lot of followers by posting pictures and stuff like that. You're going to get a lot of interaction. It's just a good platform to be on. So just kind of try to stay safe.
And I love what you said, like make sure that you are, if you can be somewhere, be on it. You know, it's not going to cost you to try something out.
No, absolutely.
Even if it's like, hey, like, you know, Tumblr, like Tumblr was a great example back before the Bossessessa times, where people were like, I don't know why you'd use it for that. And it's like so many people have followings that they've kept through Tumblr into Instagram and now into Twitter because they were creating content on there.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to be on anything, even if you don't have the time to update it all the time. At least be there. At least have an account.
And take the name, take the username, damn it, because you never know when it'll blow up.
Yeah, for sure. I even like, this isn't going to work for everyone. I have been starting a little experiment where I have made profiles on dating sites. And obviously, if you're not out, if you don't want people to know your city, you don't want to do this. But if you're like me and you don't give a shit, whatever. And basically, I have my dating profile, and it's just some pictures that won't get deleted. And then I'll say, hey, I'm not on this too often. Check out my Instagram instead. And you can link your Instagram in most of these dating profiles. So that funnels people to my Instagram, which then funnels people to my free OnlyFans, which then might funnel them to my paid OnlyFans. So it's a little bit of
the box, ladies, outside the box. I love that. That's so smart. And of course, you know, I realize on all of these, there's a chance that your accounts might get taken down. But end of the day, if you're doing your work on a series of platforms, and if you have all these things interlinked, you know, hopefully having one pillar go down doesn't knock out the whole structure. You know, if you have 100,000 Twitter followers and then you have 100,000 Instagram followers and your Instagram goes down, guess what? You already have a list of people that are interested in you who are probably going to go refollow if you start rebuilding.
Also a tip, if your Instagram does get taken down and you want to make a new one, you need to make a new one on a different device with a different IP address. That's very important. You cannot make another Instagram account with the same address, with the same IP address. Did I say that twice? Anyways, but you get my meaning. If you do that, then you're going to get taken down pretty immediately. So don't do that. You need to go to like a friend's house and use their phone, basically. And then create it that way, and then they can like send you the information to like change the password and stuff like that, and then you can have it. But that's what you need to do, basically.
Yeah. God. What a mess. What a mess. So one other thing I want to ask you about as far as social and your sales funnel, are you, because you are on all of these different sites, do you think that OnlyFans is where you're leading most people to, and then you're funneling them into customs, etc.? Or is there another platform that you feel like is more, that there's like a higher conversion rate, or maybe just easier to lead people to a close?
I think Reddit is pretty good for conversions, honestly. There's a lot of places to advertise on Reddit because of all the like the different subreddits and stuff like that, and you have to be careful because people get really mad if they think you're too explicitly advertising in their subreddits. So don't be like, hey, come join my OnlyFans, because then people be like, oh, fucking, then like, just post like a hot picture that suits the topic of the subreddit, being like, hey, and then people will get curious and they want to see what other things you've posted, and they will click on your user profile, and then in your little bio thing you'll be like, see my explicit content on blah blah blah. And you can also have your own subreddit that you can explicitly advertise on, so like you can be like follow my OnlyFans or whatever. But I think Reddit is pretty good for conversions like that.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's going to be people on every site that do not want to spend money ever on anything, but yeah.
They're at the club too, ladies. So don't get too caught up on them, right? They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're not who you're interested in. They're not.
Yeah, I know. And one more thing on sales funnels and advertising, what you want to post mostly on your social media pages is your top of the funnel advertising. So that's just basically brand awareness. Because people probably aren't, if you're just posting like, hey, buy this, hey, buy this, hey, buy this, people probably aren't gonna like go and buy that. So what you want to do is post top of the funnel sort of marketing post. So just nice pictures of you being like, hey, I'm sexy, or asking a question and getting interaction and stuff like that. That's going to be the bulk of your social media posts. And then you could have some middle of the funnel posts where like, hey, go follow me on my free OnlyFans. So the middle of the funnel is sort of giving something away for free that kind of connects you more to them. And then the bottom of the funnel posts should be like the least often because they're going to be the least successful on social media, which is like, hey, go buy this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's so important. It's, again, for anyone watching from the club, think about the analogy, right? Like, you wouldn't just walk up and be like, let's go do the 2,000-hour VIP room right now. Yeah. You could, and you might get a guy every once in a blue moon, but if that's your only strategy, like, you're going to get less success, even though it feels like, okay, that should work. But it's like, people are, especially digitally, they have such little short attention spans, and they're not looking like, they're seeing literally all this other beautiful stuff, and so you just being like, give me money, it's like, and
it doesn't really work. No. And so with online, typically on average, someone has to have 7 interactions with your brand before they decide to buy something. So interactions might be like following you on social media and like interacting with your posts and stuff like that. So it's really important to have that top of the funnel marketing there, not just have every post be like, hey, buy this.
Yeah, and remember, like, that is your business. Like, a lot of people, I think my only business is creating content, but there are advertising companies designing multi-million-dollar ads that don't get any airtime, that are just sitting there on YouTube with no views because people don't want to watch them because they weren't the kind of content they were looking for. So think about how much of that advertising and marketing is what's leading to your sales, because you're not walking into a room of people ready to buy. You're walking into a room with people who are probably just browsing on the internet and might have ran into your picture. And so you have to create the experience from start to finish of, like, the analogy I've been giving is you're building your own club. So you need to be the hostess that walks them in, and you need to be the door person. And you also need to be the, like, gorgeous pictures outside that made them want to come inside in the first place, because the club isn't going to do it for you online. Yeah. That is a lot to start with. And I don't want to give people more than they can chew, but if there's anything else that you can think of as far as specifically for people getting started with digital marketing, any other tips, or like, oh, maybe this is a good, like, sort of place to end. What things not to do? Let's talk about some, like, do not do this, things that you see online that you're like, oh girl. Okay.
I'm not calling anyone out specifically.
No, again, for anyone watching, like, this ain't about you. This is not about any person. This is like, things happen in patterns, and people make the same mistakes often, which is why we're talking to them about them as a group. This is no shade.
Yeah. So you have to understand that this is like a personal account, right? This is you, but it's also your business account. This is your brand account. So you can post things that are personal and be like, hey, I did this today. It was cool. That's fine. But people are like looking to you and like coming to you because they want some form of entertainment and escapism. Like, if you're following like a makeup brand on Twitter and then randomly they tweet, I'm having a really bad day today, guys. You're like, what?
Like, wow, Two-Faced is really going through it with her boyfriend.
Yeah, and it's like, I have shared sometimes, like if I'm going through a rough patch because it's like affecting like the content that I'm putting out, um, or stuff like that. But I don't go super into it. I'm like, I'm so depressed. I hate my life. Like, it's if you're having thoughts and feelings like that, Twitter isn't really the place to share them, because in the end, it's going to hurt your business because customers are going to be like, or like potential customers will be like, it's not what they're coming there for. And like that might seem like weird and cold-hearted, but like it's just horny dudes who want someone to jack off to you, right? um and some of your like really like if you have really good regulars and supporters, they might be like, oh, and they might like send you something to make you feel better. But most of your followers on Twitter will just be random jack-offs, right? So they're gonna be like, oh. Or if you constantly tweet out like, oh, Cam is so slow today. Why the fuck aren't any of you tipping? People are gonna be like,
Oh God, yeah. No. No, 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 ladies.
no. You don't want to be like actively angry at your audience. You don't want to be like, hey, business is slow right now. Because then people are gonna be like, well, if her business is slow, then obviously her product must be shit.
Right.
And that might not be the case at all, but that might be what people start thinking. And I understand that, like, obviously I have slow days. I have days where I'm like, fuck, what the fuck went wrong here? But that's where you vent to maybe other sex worker friends, maybe you have a partner or a friend. It's really not something you should take to Twitter because it's going to hurt your business in the long run.
Yeah, love that. Love it. And especially if you're doing digital stuff and you're sort of splitting out from, like, I would really recommend if you're like, you need that space to vent or whatever, like have a Instagram, have a fake Twitter, like have, if you need that, do it. But like really think about everything you're putting out because you're curating it. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't go to a venue where like most of the experience is okay, but then the bartender is like crying behind the bar and is throwing things. Even if you love the venue and it's a great party and everyone there is fun, like that, those things really take away from all the awesomeness you're bringing to your business. And other people are not going to tell you to stop because they're just going to literally be on their phone like, ooh, girl.
Yeah.
But you should you should listen. Like I love it. Literally, you're like, I don't want to say this. Like, I just want to be kind, but please, you know, like most people feel that way. They're not going to come for you if
Yeah,
you're
like
making that kind of content. You just have to know it's like they might never invite you to the party, but the party's happening and you're not going to be there, you know? Like,
yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't want to make anyone feel bad for like feeling that way because I have absolutely had days like that where I'm like, fuck. But it's just you really do need to take it to other places because if you post on Instagram, it's just going to hurt you more, you know?
yeah. And there's so many places, like, luckily, there's so many digital spaces for that now. Like, there's a lot of accounts and a lot of people that are engaging it. But again, make sure that you have a different account because even if it's just in your mentions or your replies and you think you're just commenting and no one's looking, like, they can see that. Like, people can see the stuff you're liking and commenting on and posting. So it's not just what's on your feed. It's like, just monitor all of your digital presence as if it's literally your storefront.
Yeah.
Uh, Sweet. Anything else as far as no-nos? Okay, so this is one I have a question about,
Okay.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is the grainy, the okay, the I don't want to call it ugly because it's not. You're fucking beautiful. The poorly lit,
Yeah.
dirty background, at home selfie. To me, that kills me. Like, it's one of my pet peeves when I'm like looking at a selfie and there's like your
Yes.
dirty trash bag in the background. But some people might be like, it's just me. Like, I'm just at home. Like, do you believe in the like whenever wherever selfie, or
I
are you
mean,
strategic about your like fun posts?
I get it. And like that's but you really should have at least an uncluttered corner to like take pictures or make content in. And I get it if you don't have like the best camera or the best lighting, but what you can do at least is get fluorescent bulbs, so the lighting you're using maybe in a lamp isn't like yellow, because the yellow light really is not flattering for anyone. It looks terrible in photos, so just buy like a fluorescent bulb if you can't afford like a ring light yet, or like studio lights, softbox and stuff like that. That costs money, I get that. So just fluorescent bulb, that's gonna help a lot. And it's going to help a lot with your picture quality too, even if you don't have the best phone camera.
And
But
especially if you're like a dancer and you're like a nighttime person, I get it. But also like, there's your fluorescent lighting.
natural light,
There's
yes.
there's your oh, I'm so hot moment, right? Like,
Yeah. If you can use natural light, use it because it's always flattering. If it's night or if just the room isn't set up where you can use natural light, then I get it. Then just use like a fluorescent bulb, that will do. But yeah, every picture you post is going to, it doesn't have to be like the best picture of all time every time, but it should at least be clean and have at least okay lighting. So it's not like grainy, it's not like dark, it's not like flash or like yellow and like, because it's not very appealing. Like if you went to like the Instagram account of like a clothing brand, but all the pictures of the clothes were all cute, but all the pictures of the clothes were taken in a weird dark warehouse with like flash and they're just on the ground.
right.
You'd be like, what? What? So like the presentation is important, even if you do have a good product. Like if you are beautiful and stuff like that, I'm sure you are, but if you present it poorly, it's just not going to come across well.
Yeah, and it's so like, especially for anyone who's watching and is like, okay, maybe easy to say like, you have a certain body type and a certain this and a certain that. I really recommend for y'all to check out the wealth of creators on OnlyFans, because one of my favorite things about that site and like all the other digital content creators is there's like every body type, there's every ethnicity, there's everything of everything of everything.
Absolutely. Never think, obviously I'm coming from a place of privilege, I'm a skinny white girl with big tits, I get it. But there are so many successful creators that do not look like me. There are so many successful content creators of color, BBW models, models who are disabled, like all kinds of different models who are successful. And you shouldn't ever be like, oh, I'm too ugly to do this, or like I'm not thin so I can't do this, or like, I'm not white so I'm not going to do as well. And I get that there are barriers because of that, because maybe of your skin color, or because you are not thin, right? But there are still successful creators who look like you, and I encourage you to seek them out, because it's going to, if you have more people on your feed, like your social media feed that look like you, it's going to make you feel a whole lot better about the content that you put out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you're looking for people to do like retweets and follows and all this stuff, realize that especially, at the club, it's different because there's so much fucking gatekeeping, and a lot of people do look sort of, it's like the same box.
Yes.
But the beauty of this is that box is totally ripped off. There is none of that gatekeeping. You need a license, and you need, your phone and a fluorescent bulb or the sun, and you can start making content. But because of that, there's top level creators in every single category, and so you can learn from them. And also, when you're looking for content to like promote and connect and people to connect with, you can literally have a community of people whose fans are already into everything that you're putting out, and that's so valuable. Because it's like, people are always going to talk shit on the internet. People are always going to be kind of rude on the internet, but
people are rude to me every day, girl. Don't worry about it. Like, doesn't matter. You could be the most beautiful person in the world. There's still gonna be some dude like, your nose is too big. Like,
yeah, who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I mean, like literally, you see it in like supermodels. Their feed is like, ugh, like do you know Michelle Lewin? She's like a Venezuelan workout minx.
Oh yeah.
She's the most stacked, most gorgeous, like just unreal. Where I like just will go onto her Instagram and be like, I'm embarrassing my people because like how are we from the same place? How you're unreal, and you'll see someone like, you have fake boobs. It's like and what, son? And what?
Yeah, like in real life you wouldn't even like breathe in her direction, so like
you wouldn't dare. Oh, so maybe let's end on that, because that is such like an important thing for anybody watching. who's going from maybe in-person rejection where people are actually in your face and they have to kind of at least pretend to be nice if they're even slightly socially adjusted, where they're like maybe like not right now or no thank you, to the digital like anonymous like, oh my god, like how can you say that about a person? How do you handle that kind of like digital hate, and how do you manage your like own well-being through that?
Yeah. So the number one rule is don't engage. Like I break that rule sometimes because I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, you're stupid. Like, but general, like, don't engage because that's what they want. They're like, yes, reply to me. Because they're like jerking off to it. Like, yeah, that's
Imagine the person who wrote it jerking off to their own message.
Yeah.
And if you reply, imagine giving them more content to spank it to. That's a great, like.
Yeah. Everyone will just fucking delete their comment, block them, go on with your day because just they don't deserve your like a modicum of your attention, because most likely it's some like sad lonely dude whose only joy in life is to make mean comments about women and other people who wouldn't even look in his general direction, you know. And that's it's just block and move on. And I get that like sometimes people will say things that like cut deep. You're like, oh, that's something I'm actually insecure about. Fuck. But realize it's for every person that like hates you, there's gonna be 10 people that love you.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like it's show business, baby. Like that comes with the gig, and like it can only feel as real as you make it, right? Like a lot of that stuff, it feels like, oh buddy, that's how you feel. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So just sort of come from the mindset that like this guy is sad and lonely and he is trying his best to make some joy out of his life, and just kind of look at it like that and just be like, okay, and then block him and move on. That's all.
And for anyone who if you have the time of day, like, okay, this is, to me, it's my favorite thing to do in the club. Like when someone's mean to me, I'll just be like, tell me how you really feel. And then they'll like tell me all their feelings and become a regular. Like this is a thing that has happened more than once. So I'm like, I love it. I literally can't wait for my first digital like mean person so I can DM them like, hi, like I'm just checking in. Like I'm hoping you're okay. Like
I'm really concerned.
Like my DMs are totally open in my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So I hope to see you there. But have a beautiful day. And then move on. Like only if you have the time though. Really just block them. Just don't be psychotic like me. Just block them.
Don't be psychotic.
Do as she says, not as I do. Awesome. That is so much really awesome stuff, and I really appreciate you sitting down with us. Like this was so illuminating.
Yeah.
So smart. If y'all are online and you're like, I loved what she had to say, make sure you check out all her pages, follow her on social. If you're looking for consultations, I believe you do offer those, right? That's what this was. I was basically just asking questions for me, and also for y'all.
I'm offering them on like a sliding scale. So if you really, I'm going to work within your budget basically. And if it's like, I really can't afford anything, then maybe you can work out something where you just use my referral code to sign up for something. And then that's good. So yeah.
Yeah, because that was the other thing she said that melted my heart was like, I usually do these for free. It's just like a sort of stranger time. And so now we're moving to sliding scale. And so please support her. Like if you appreciated this, you enjoyed this, like sign up for her OnlyFans, like check out her content. Like it's not, you know, again, just even though it might feel like, okay, what is that going to do for a content creator? That means a whole lot. And especially if you got value, check her out and check out her stuff. So thank you so much for being here. You might see Jessica again. We're going to try to have her again for some of those other areas we didn't quite get to today, because there's just so much there to explore. But for now, make sure, especially if you have like questions about that or what you want to see next, make sure that you throw us some comments below so we know what you're looking for. And thank you for watching this episode of Going Digital.